Well, on to cars, another major story for this year, and Spyker saying it gets one more week for its chance to buy out GM's Saab unit. Jeff Locke has the latest breaking news on the possible sale from a Saab dealer. Jeff.
Indeed, Dagan, additional breaking news here this morning. Fox Business Network learning that there are now 4 bidders, a total of 4 bidders that are in the hunt for Saab. So as the future of this brand hangs in the balance, 4 bidders, we believe, are now bidding. We indeed are at one of the 1,100 worldwide Saab dealerships that remain around the world. This is Downers Grove Saab. Saab of Downers Grove, I believe, is the official title. Let me tick down what we have learned from various sources here this morning on the subject of this sale. Number 1, the deadline, as you report, Dagan, is in fact hard and fast, January the 7th, or a source tells us there will be no Saab to buy. GM has confirmed to us that Spyker and the Wyoming investment bank Merbanco are in talks, but we believe now 2 additional bidders. We hope to have more information on that next hour. Spyker's bid, we are told by the GM source, needs better backing. They had some apparently unsecured money from a Russian investor. They need to solidify that. They say, the GM source does, that the deal, any deal at this point, is a long shot, but they're still working at it. Some additional quotes from our source. There are still some production commitments that will be fulfilled after January 7th. That indicates to us that Saabs will continue to be made into the new year, even though there might be a wind down if no deal is reached. According to the GM source, the engines, that is to say the engines for Saab, have already been repurposed over the past 4 years. The intellectual property is already being utilized globally in GM products, specifically in China and in some U.S. engines. That is to say, Dagan, that if GM does not reach a deal, they are prepared to go forward and essentially cannibalize Saab, use the engines, perhaps take the new 9.5, the 2010 9.5, and I think we've got a 2009 9.5, which is right here with us. The new model, which is not out yet, potentially could be repurposed as a Buick or perhaps another one of GM's nameplates. So a lot of options here, but it's not stating it too strongly to say right now the fate of Saab hangs in the balance, and they are working very hard on reaching a deal. Dagan.
Jeff, we will see you in the next hour.
That I want to get the reaction from one of the biggest Saab dealers in the country in just a moment, Dagan. But first, let me give you the developments. We now believe in addition to Spyker, there are 3 other bidders in the hunt for Saab, and the deadline is January 7th. Here's the latest from a source close to the GM negotiations. They tell us the deadline, January 7th. After the 7th, says the source, there will be no Saab to buy. They'll wind it down. There are a couple of investing parties still talking to GM, including Spyker and Merbanco. That's the Wyoming-based firm. Spyker's bid was too financially controversial as there was unsecured backing from a Russian party. Spyker is actively seeking secure financial backing. They say the deal is a long shot, though. That's not good news to Roland Gardner, who is perhaps one of the best-known dealers in Chicago. You'll hear his dulcet tones and perhaps know them. You feel like a deal needs to get done.
Absolutely, no question about it. You're talking about closing down a company, not a brand. And the fact that it's a international brand is important, but more important is that it's going to affect 212 Saab dealers in the United States. And each is a small business, but President Obama wants to help small business. And I think that President Obama should be aware of the fact that GM is stalling on this when they have a deal on the desk for $400 million in cash.
Are you concerned, sir, that as we look at, see, that's the 2009 Saab 9.5. They've got a new one coming out. You're very excited about it, the 2010. Do you think GM might possibly cannibalize that, turn it into a Buick, for example, and shutter Saab?
Well, they might do that, but that's contrary to the TARP that they received. $50 billion to keep the American people working here in the American factories. Why bring a car in from Sweden? It doesn't make sense.
You don't think it's good use of the TARP money if they go ahead and shutter this brand?
It's awful, terrible, because GM is getting $400 million from Spyker. It's on the desk, it's on the table, and if they kill Saab, they're going to have closure costs. Let's say another $500 million. You're talking about $1 billion that's being wasted.
Well put, sir. And I would expect nothing less from Roland Gardner, as we said, one of the best-known auto dealers in Chicago and one of the biggest Saab dealers in the country, has much to lose if this does not go through. Not only this dealership, which is Saab of Downers Grove, there is a second dealership that you have as well, another Saab dealer, a longtime Saab dealer. We will continue to watch the Saab story unfold, Dagan, as the clock winds down.